Welcome back, everyone. We're live at the fairgrounds at the Plaza stage area where we're going to have magician Michael Misko performing on the Nutrient Plaza stage at 4 and 6 o'clock this afternoon with his tricks. So you'll definitely want to check that out. And there's so much to check out with today being Taste of the Fair. We've got those food vendors lined up with those food samples. So as we take a look at our weather, right now our temperature is much lower, thankfully because of the rain that moved through earlier this morning. Good morning, everyone. Checking out your weather forecast. We've got a really nice start this morning. However, the cooler, pleasant weather is about to retreat out of here and give way to some much warmer, humid weather as we head toward this afternoon. So enjoy the next few hours of relatively nice conditions outside. Good night to open the windows, although it may actually get a little chilly with those windows open here, with those numbers running a good bit below average. Tomorrow, 75. Just a beautiful, beautiful forecast here for Thursday and Friday. It doesn't get much better than this, so be sure to soak it up. This weekend we heat up, and then next week we stay on the hot side with highs in the low 90s. The good news is this is going to be a much drier heat, so temperatures, although they're going to be quite warm, it'll be much more manageable with overnight lows still getting down into the 60s. We have Hurricane Idalia, which is now up to Category 4, so it continues to strengthen at last minute here as it approaches a landfall. That'll be happening very shortly this morning here, probably within the next couple of hours or so. It'll officially come on shore. Once it does come on shore, that will begin the weakening trend as it gets out of those warm Gulf waters. But winds right now, 130 miles per hour. That just barely puts it into Category 4 territory. We're live at the Allen County Fair on the Midway. We've got some happy kids behind us enjoying the great weather. Say hi, everyone. I'll back out of the way so you can see the kiddos enjoying Youth Day here at the fair. It is heating up very quickly, so as you head out this afternoon, make sure you stay hydrated, seek some shade as often as you can, because let's check out those temperatures. They are heating up already into the 80s. But as we often say, it's not the heat, it's the humidity. So it's very humid today.
Meteorologist Nathan Kitchen's here, and well, you heard him. 6 more weeks of winter, and it's definitely going to feel like that tomorrow.
Well, you know, the rodent isn't lying. We still have 6 more weeks of winter on the calendar, and I tell you what, it's going to get a lot colder tomorrow, so hopefully you have those heavy coats handy. But the question is, what about the weekend? We'll be tracking quite a roller coaster ride the next several days. We'll look at that forecast coming up. That's after the break. Overnight, we did see wind gusts around 45 miles per hour here in Lima. Some isolated stronger gusts to the east as that line started to push that rain-cooled air into our area, which did give us a cool down in the temperatures. We do see, though, a few storm reports. There were some tree branches knocked down earlier this morning along Main Street and Bluffton. Still seeing some lingering showers with the heavier showers to the west and the southwest. We have some moderate to heavy rain in Van Wert down towards Rockford, Salina, and some heavy rain around New Bremen, Minster. Now in the portions of Shelby County around Sydney, and you can see around Logan County, you guys have now seen the heavy rain move out. We've had double the amount of days with wind gusts exceeding 40 miles per hour when you compare it to last year at this point in the year. So yes, we have seen a lot of wind. But why is that? So first off, I want to discuss what causes wind in the first place. And basically, you just need to know that wind is driven by differences in air pressure. So the air is always trying to reach a state of balance or equilibrium. And it's the same as true on a global scale. So we have areas of high pressure, and then we have areas of low pressure. And the air always flows from high to low. So an example of that is if I blow up a balloon, and then I let go of it, you notice how that balloon flies away because you get all that high pressure inside of it. And while the outside of the balloon, you have relatively lower pressure. So the air goes from higher to lower pressure. And it's the same thing here when it comes to air masses. So we look at air that flows from high to low. When you have a weak difference in pressure, we typically see weaker winds. But when that pressure gradient gets stronger, like in this situation here, we typically see so much stronger wind speeds. And this is what we're looking at when we look at weather maps with these white lines. These are isobars, and that's basically lines of equal pressure. And when air packed closer together, that represents a tighter pressure gradient, which obviously drives stronger winds because the atmosphere, it's trying to reach balance. So when you've got such an imbalance taking place, wind is that mechanism to fill that void in pressure. So the air goes from high to low to help fill that void. But in the process, we get some very strong winds, as we have seen a lot of this winter. And the wintertime typically is our windier time of the year. Are you weather ready? You want to make sure you have at least 2 ways to get weather alerts, whether it be a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning. Do you have multiple methods to get those alerts to you? Also, do you have a plan in place? Because you want to make a plan. Identify where that safe place is, either in your home or in your place of work. Communicate that plan with your family, and you want to make sure you have emergency items either in that safe place or near that safe place, whether it be flashlights, non-perishable foods, or a blanket to have at hand when that weather warning is issued. The line is actually showing some signs of weakening, which is some good news. But again, we do want you to still be aware of the possibility of some localized damaging winds as this pushes through. You can see here, this is one of the ODOT cameras at State Route 309, Elida Road at Easttown Road. We do see some puddles and very heavy rainfall. And again, the possibility of those strong winds. Again, this is the run of it right now, pushing through Lima, and we have good news as this pushes through. Again, this is going to really take the juice out of the atmosphere. I'm going to stop the radar animation and show you where this is heading. Again, for areas to the east, like Ada, where you're not seeing the storms just yet. Let's put a track on this for you. Coming into, again, Bluffton around 240, around Findlay there at 249. It looks like around Kitten just before 3 o'clock. You're going to see this come through. So something to keep in mind, of course, for school dismissals there. And then just after 3 o'clock for the Bell Fountain area. Again, this line pushing east around 60 miles per hour with the possibility of some gusty winds. You can see on our forecast model showing as the line pushes through. Again, we'll see a lot of that severe weather threat shift east with some additional showers possible into the early evening.
Well, we all know how painfully hot it gets in our vehicles on these 90-degree days. Meteorologist Nathan Kitchens tested just how fast it heats up inside.
All right, I just shut off the news vehicle. The temperature in here is currently a pleasant 78 degrees. Outside, it's about 86. We have full sunshine. I'm parked in the full sun, and we'll see how fast the temperature warms inside. In just a matter of 13 minutes parked in the direct sun, our news vehicle temperature went from a pleasant 78 degrees to now reading around 105. And as you can see, I am certainly sweating. I left the thermometer sitting in our parked vehicle for another hour, and you can see our temperature on our thermometer only goes to 120. You can see that needle is peaking over 120 degrees. You can still see some pavement on most surfaces thanks to the temperatures near freezing. So it's going to really come down to the rate of the snowfall. When the snow gets a little bit lighter in intensity, it can tend to make the roads just wet. When the snow gets in a heavier consistency, we could start to see it cover up those roadways. And the thinking is we're not in the height of the storm yet. It looks like mid to late morning we'll get some more consistent, heavier snowfall rates. So it's going to come down harder. We'll get some bigger flakes. And that's when, even though it's still relatively warm, got the treatment on the roads, that snow can come down hard enough at times that it will put that snow on those roadways. So it's going to be a very slick travel day for sure across the area. So the thinking is about 4 to 6 inches, a little more in spots from Lima to the west, but then areas east and south more like 3 to 4, but then some of that rain falls and kind of compacts down some of that snow that falls this morning. So here's our skycast showing the deeper blues signify a heavier snow, and you notice how those deeper blues work in mid-morning. Here's late morning around 11 a.m. Again, pockets of very intense snowfall. As we go into the early part of the afternoon, it starts to shift further north. So our northwest zone see the heavier snow. We start to see a bit of a pullback around Lima by 1 p.m. and then some rain over to the southeast. Here's 3 o'clock. Again, it's going to be kind of right here over Lima, the rain snow line. And then as we get into the late afternoon or early evening, those snowfall rates will start to go down. I was at the grocery store yesterday and I was buying a mop. And so some guy comes up to me and he's like, by the way, that's like the worst Valentine's Day gift you could ever give your wife. And I think I made up some excuse like, well, she doesn't deserve flowers or something. But by the way, full disclosure, I don't have a wife. I'm single, but.
Now that is hilarious, and I would agree with him too.
Well,
that is a bad gift, probably.
I think a mop could be romantic. I mean, one year for my birthday, I asked for a vacuum cleaner. I get excited about that stuff now.
Exactly.
So.
Well, I will admit, one year Vince gave me a toolbox for Valentine's Day because I needed one, and it was worth
so we're
it,
curious to see what you guys think.
Exactly. So go to hometownstations.com/vote now. We're going to check out the results at the end of the show. But Nathan, let's check out the forecast. What's it going to shape up to be like today?
Well,
on this
today is
Valentine's
cold.
Day?
Very, very cold. So bundle up today, but we're going to warm things up though as we go throughout the week. So that's the good news. You can see right now we're sitting at about 9 degrees. Welcome back. It is time for some trivia on this Tuesday. Lynn and I ended in a tie last week, so we'll see where we end up today.
At least you won't be tied with them.
That's true.